It's definitely worse now. So should we just talk about how disgusting this rock garden is? Okay. I mean, you can see there's like lots of holes to catch you. So yeah, this is why it's important to have good rotors, rotor guards, good chain guides. Because if you just run a stock rotor, stock chain guide in this scenario, you're gonna be throwing your chain, you're gonna be bending your rotors. I even bent my rotors through here, but I was attempting a line I probably shouldn't have. So the rock garden tonight here in Reno is for sure like, it's the nastiest rock garden we've seen in a couple of years. So that's saying something. I'm Cody Webb, I ride for Rocky Mountain Yamaha and I choose GBrakes. In terms of like the tracks we race, like just the magnitude and scale of this track is like pretty grand compared to, we've been racing like ice skating arenas. Reno, I think, is for sure our biggest floor space, so like it just gives them more to play with on the track. The rock garden they have this weekend is pretty extravagant. Like it's an uphill turning off camber with some logs in it and then more rocks on the descent. So it's for sure the hardest rock garden we've had all year. It's like, it's a super weird start here. When we come after the finish line, we loop all around the outside of the track. We got like a step on, step off, but it's not really that, but it's like super easy on to this plateau, and it's not wide open, but you hit this tire double and it's the sweetest floater of all time. Like I was kind of nervous the first time I hit it, and I was like, okay, that wasn't that bad. And then every lap after that, it like sets you up perfectly to downside it. And normally in EnduroCross, our jumps are like really sketchy. This one looks insane because there's a huge gap in the middle of it, but it's the best jump I think we've ever had. It was chaos. Like original EnduroCross was so unpredictable, and now all the riders have gotten so good, and the bikes are really catered towards this style of racing now. Before we were just taking motocross bikes and hoping for the best, like making little changes, thinking we were dialing it in, and now there's quite a bit more that goes into this bike compared to a stock YZ 250F that you buy from Moto. You don't want to be fighting the bike, like you want the bike to work really well with you. So EnduroCross changed a ton. Trials is obviously still really helpful, but I need to be more aggressive now than I used to be because everyone's going so fast. So this is the matrix section of the track, and they made a little change from earlier in practice, but super crucial to not like drop your front in these logs, but super muddy there. Then they added a log in the corner. So it definitely changes up the flow of the track. Sounds one of those things, do you like check up early to get around the corner better, or you carry more speed to the corner and have to go wide and lose more time? Kind of a toss-up. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they did a good job watering this part. All right, that's gross. Pretty much built this bike from the ground up. Like I didn't have the engine fully open, but I put a big bore kit on this bike, and I think that was kind of the biggest add-on to the bike because, you know, I'm racing against the Austrian bikes, which are 350s. We got a Triumph here on a 450. So like on a 250F platform, we were a little down on power. So I threw the big bore kit on to have a little more of that grunt coming out of some of these turns and hitting some sketchy doubles. They honestly ripped this a little too deep, I think. You come out of the black pipes that are pretty slippery, and all I see is a big steep lip with like a little log at the top, and I basically just hold it wide open and preload into it and hope I get over the landing, spot my landing in the air. You know, I ride hard enduro, I ride EnduroCross. Like I knew I was going to be eating up some budget when it came to the stock rotors. And you know, the stock bikes, they're plenty good, but they're not really built to be super durable. You know, a stock chain on the bike, you're not going to have it last on the bike for very long. They get it off the showroom floor. So I wanted something I can really trust with rotors, and if I can prevent the rotor from getting bent, that would be huge. And I don't really have a huge overheating problem. I'm not really dragging my brakes that much. But for me, having like a really strong, durable rotor was super important. So that's why I went with GBrakes. And then with the Yamaha as well, the stock line is not braided in the front. So having a braided front gets rid of that sponginess that's on the stock Yamaha. And I think that's honestly probably the biggest upgrade for GBrakes when it comes to like riding on the Yamaha, is going to braided lines on your brake to get rid of that sponginess. With the stock setup, it's just like a rubber hydro line. So when you're pulling in on the master cylinder, there's a little bit of flex and like that power loss when you're pulling in the lever. So it's gonna expand just a little bit, or you'll see the hose kind of wiggle. So that's actually gonna cause like a sponginess feeling. You're gonna lose that feeling you'd have in direct line with the front brake. And with the style of racing we're doing here, it's so intense, like fully on the gas, on the brakes, trying to make the turn. And I want to predict what the bike's gonna do. And when the bike was a little spongy, I couldn't have like full trust in really if I was gonna do a nose wheelie or not do a nose wheelie. So putting on the braided lines from GBrakes, it's just a higher quality product I'm putting on the bike, and it's getting rid of that sponginess feel, and it's a more direct positive feel, and I just feel more in line with the front brake when I use it. Right before the finish line jump, there's like a rhythm of these black pipes that are super slippery. So you can go triple, triple, or you go like triple, single, double. But the problem is if you triple in and you land a little far, it unsets the suspension and you have a monster triple. And we never had a triple once ever in EnduroCross. Like this is a supercross obstacle. And of course, in EnduroCross fashion, they put a log on the lip because why not? And honestly, earlier today after practice, all the pros were, not all the pros, but I was one of the pros. I think there was 2 people that didn't complain about the log, and luckily they fixed it up and put a little more dirt on the takeoff, so it wasn't as like gnarly of a transfer, I guess. But that jump is hard to nail if you go hit the rhythm, triple, triple every lap. So I think they added a little bit of dirt for the main to make it safer for us on the landing of that triple in. But on the smaller bike, I'm a bigger guy, I'm 6'3". It's everything I got with landing nicely to get over that finish line jump. Well, I bent a rotor in practice, and I know you guys just came out with the new cryo rotors. So, and it has a little heat sink on it. In EnduroCross, I don't have to worry about it, but I think that from what I heard, in theory, you know, these rotors are supposed to be even tougher and offset heat more. So I think with the gnarly rock garden tonight, I'm gonna have to break this rotor in a little bit out in the parking lot, and I'll be dialed to go when it comes for the race. Yeah, we're getting near the end of the series right now, and I'm looking forward to this round just for like how spectacular it is. You know, the final round is already next weekend. It feels like the series went through in a blink of an eye, especially with how much prep work that went into it. And you're like, I'm starting to get in the swing of things. I want to keep this thing going. I'm actually looking forward a lot to 2026. I'm been in chat with Yamaha a lot just to help my program for next year. And what I really need is just like a dedicated person to help me. I did so much testing and development this year, and I'm actually at least steered in the right direction now of what I'm doing for next year in terms of bikes and setup. And, you know, I'm gonna do maybe a little bit more development. I might test the 450 next year for certain races. It's something I don't want to race at all the races, but depending on the race, it's gonna play in my favor, make my life a little bit easier. So more developing, but I'm really hoping for, you know, a little bit extra help and budget to basically pay someone to be my babysitter and help me out next year and keep me going. Whereas that way I'm training and actually testing versus just testing and not really getting to train. I missed out a lot this year on my own personal prep with fitness and on the bike practicing. And now that the series is underway, the bikes are on the road, I've been going home and I feel like I'm just getting better and better. That's why I want the series to keep going. So coming in with that mindset for 2026, I'm actually really kind of fired up right now to hopefully get that additional help and you know, kind of catch these guys when they least expect it.